All right, cool. All right, I got it recording now. That's good because there's one question that's an 8-part about tapeworm. Okay, no tapeworm.
I can't get enough questions about tapeworm, so yeah, fire them on.
No, luckily no tapeworm. All right, so let's figure out why we're here, why we're doing this. About a month ago, you did an interview with Kevin Rose from Dig.com, where you had all the Dig people write questions and vote on them, and you answered the top 10 questions. So what inspired you to ask us NIN fans from your website to do this?
Well, I was perusing some answers, and I noticed lots of comments on Min.com, and surprisingly, everyone was bitching about stuff. So mainly about the tone of the questions at Dig. So I said, why don't you guys self-organize and ask me what you want? And since I'm putting myself out there so much these days, I'll answer whatever questions you come up with. So here I am.
And what happened was on NIN.com and also the other board, the other big Nine Inch Nails message board, Echoing the Sound, what they did was they made a committee for questions. A bunch of questions were submitted. They were voted on. And we came up with top 10 questions to ask you from NIN.com and Echoing the Sound board. So we have our 10 questions. So I guess we should go on with this interview.
Right? Do it.
This is weird. I've never done an interview before. And of all people I have to interview first, it's you. So I'm on it.
Trial by fire. Let me have a disclaimer to say that I'm in a weird hotel room in Florida, and this isn't any kind of art that I chose. It just happens to be set up near where the computer desk is. So don't judge me on this one, okay?
Is this your first ever webcam interview?
I think so. Now that I think about it, I don't remember ever having done this before. You know, with my clothes on, you know, to be recorded with other people. So.
Okay, first question here. This is a 2-part question. A couple of these have numerous questions in them. There are many inquiries about the sound check for the song Lights in the Sky. What made you decide to not play the song live during the last tour, and will we ever see it live?
Yeah, we worked it up for the last tour, and really what happened was it's such a quiet song that we kind of scrapped it in the rehearsal phase. It just felt like, at that time, I thought it wouldn't fit the set list, so several weeks went by, and then it kind of felt like we forgot it. We never had time to really practice it, so it kind of went by the wayside. But I'll blow one of the many secrets of the new tour, and that is going to be played live. We
Very, very
brought
cool.
it back to life. Yeah, what's cool now is we actually have, with Alon, he's actually a really excellent keyboardist. So it frees me up to do some other things. And that was another thing that was kind of a hassle, was playing it and singing it was weird, because it's very hard to sing that song live because it's so quiet. So now I can just dump all the responsibility on Alon, and off we go.
Interesting. Can't wait to hear that live. Second part of that question is, what are the reasons for not ever playing certain songs at shows? And given that band members have mentioned learning 70-plus songs, how do you pick the 20-ish songs that get played each show?
That's a good question. Many answers to that. Some songs you realize don't go over as well as you wish they would. You know, like when we finished with Teeth, I thought The Collector was my favorite song on the record. And every time we played that live, it kind of felt like lots of blank faces looking back at you. And so they start to get bumped around because you can judge people's reaction, you know. And what happened on the Lights in the Sky tour, you know, and I've explained this before, but just to reiterate, is because we wanted that tour to be so production heavy and have it feel like a movie almost, where every song had its own look. The end result of that, and kind of the consequences of doing that, was that we had to stick to a pretty rigid format, and we didn't have the opportunity to just drop songs in and out because the production kind of demanded that it flowed a certain way. So the tour we're about to start, the Ninja Tour in America and beyond, is not reliant at all on production. It's just white light. And it gives us the chance to really break the sets up. So what you're going to see is a pretty radically varied set list from night to night. And what we learned when we just played in Australia, which was kind of a beta test for this tour, was, my old philosophy of trying to play festivals, and because the Australian days were mostly festivals, my old philosophy was to come out swinging and try to make a kind of greatest hits, relentless win over the people that aren't there to see you type set list. And that, by its nature, starts to make you eliminate anything that's kind of quiet or trying or patience testing to the audience. And this time around in Australia, we just said, let's just play what we feel like playing. And we went on some pretty obscure stuff and some pretty quiet things for extended amounts of time. And what we found was that we really had the audience's attention, and we didn't need tricky video or special lights. So we're really going that direction on this tour, where it's going to be a lot of kind of stranger things and stuff we want to play that's a bit more self-indulgent at times, but it's just what we want to do. The point of this tour was to have fun and not just repeat what we've done in the past. And it feels live and dangerous, and we might fuck up, and it feels good. So I think that answered most of your questions. But
a lot of songs been reconstructed to open up for a lot of improvisation.
Kind of. I mean, we've got a good band now, and we just spent a few weeks learning a bunch of stuff that we kind of voted on, that we wanted to play. Excuse me, we're not playing certain things that we don't feel like playing, and it's not that we don't care, it's just more of a matter of we want to do what we think is the right thing to do. Instinctually, we're not trying to win people over or anything else. We're going to come out in a pretty pure form and do what we think is what feels right to us. So.
One of the most noticeable songs that was dropped in the Australia tour was Closer. So that's probably one of the songs that you're feeling, all right, you've done a lot. Not to blow the surprise, but we don't even, that's not even on the list. We're not going to play that this tour. And it's not that I don't like the song, it's just that we've played it enough. There's 200 live versions of it. There's a million videos of us doing it live. We just don't feel like doing it. So we're not. Okay, question.
Sorry.
That's fine. I've heard it numerous times. A lot of people have. It's brought up fresh air for a lot of people who have been saying, they don't want to be seeing the staple songs. They want to be seeing some other songs that they haven't seen before. So for those people, there is a point that should be made, though, and that is, a lot of people that live online and live on nin.com and Echoing the Sound, those aren't all the people that are at the shows, and I think that, it gets irritating sometimes to read comments of people that, I wish they wouldn't play terrible live, I've seen them 15 times. Well, not everybody in the audience has seen us 15 times. I'm glad you have. Thanks for your input. But not everybody out there is a hardcore fan that's read every set list of every show that we've done. And sometimes I think people forget that we're trying to please ourselves, we're trying to please the general people that come in. But I will say, with that said, that this tour is more fan-centric rather than, winning people that aren't fans over. So, right.
Okay. Carry on.
Okay, number 2. Regarding unreleased material, it should come to no surprise to assume that you probably have mountains and mountains of it laying around. Have you ever gone back to rework any material into later releases, and is there a plan to release it to the community to either digest or possibly remix? And what are the legal implications involved with that?
There's not a giant trunk of songs that are finished that are ready to go. In fact, I can't think of any right now that haven't come out in some form or another. My method of working has always been to really only finish things I think are good. And there's tons and tons of demos that may not have vocals that have floated around in various formats, and some of those got used on the Saul Williams record. A good portion of the stuff were demos that I'd worked on for the Fragile that never found a home, or I never got around to finishing for the Fragile, that I liked. And I also realized that over the years I couldn't finish them myself because I kind of backed myself into a corner